Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Canada Day. Hey, how are you? And I know big holiday in Canada, but the American 250th anniversary of the United States independence is Saturday, I believe. So we won't be on, but sort of holiday season right now. And if you're up and around this morning and you want to come on live and say hello, hi Brahim, how are you? And good to have you on. Brahim is saying hello to us Canadians. Well, thank you. Andrea, Niagara Falls, Nativity with a Canadian flag up. Canada Day today, July 1st. Maria in Portugal. Patricia, Florida, how is ya? Nice to have you guys on this morning. Okay. And Mary James saying hello to Dave and Helga. Hi, Sharon. Rosa, nice to have you on. Janice from Brampton this morning. Linda, New Brunswick. Karen, Peterborough. And another Karen. Love you, Karens. Frida, Sandy in Chilliwack, British Columbia, and Andrea, Niagara Falls. Thanks for coming on, guys. Hi, Grace from the Rock, Newfoundland. Maureen is on with us from Boca. Judy and Rain Cloud and Yvonne in Petawawa and Etta and Yvette in Shediac, Nouveau-Brunswick. Kevin, there he is, our mayor from Oshawa. Sherry, Mississauga. Hi, Vince. Hi, Dennis. How are you? Donna in Newfoundland and Cheryl in Lighthouse Cove. Sandy in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. I would love to see Fergus Falls, Minnesota. I really would. Donna, Cecilia, Cindy in Saskatchewan, Patricia, and Wanda. Good morning. Mary, Gander, Newfoundland. Nick, how are you? Diane, Danny Lay in Ironbridge, Ontario. Okay. Amber, Lucille, Janice. I think Nativity just became a Canadian citizen. Is that right? John, Elgin and not Elgin. Sharon. And from Anne, how are you? From St. Cat, Sandra and Sandy. Sandy from Vancouver, Washington. Brenda, how are you? Douglas in Paris, Tennessee. Tom in Buffalo. We love you guys. Heather in Miramichi. Another Donna. Wanda from Virginia. And Wendy from Aylmer. Nellie. I know I'm missing people, folks. Fran, invisible Fran. Rita. John saying thumbs up because I said Elgin and not Elgin. Nativity, well, congratulations. Linda, Dave, Debbie, and Kathy. Nice to have you on. Sandra, piping hot. You know what? It is very hot in Sudbury here. Yvette, Chaz, how are you, my friend? And Judy. Okay. I was looking through, hi Lorraine, Maryland, in the clouds. How you get there and how you come out of it, I have no idea. Hi, Sandra from Ottawa. Cecilia and Rita, how are you? Marlene, I love you guys. I hate to miss anybody. Donna from Park Hill and Elaine. Okay. I was looking, hi Mara, Rita. Okay, got a statement. Sandra, there's a lot of Sandras on. Okay. Shelley, Now, listen, okay? Cheryl said I missed her. I didn't mean to. Luella in West Tennessee. Say hi to Doc McEwen. I never see her name. Tina. Okay. I was looking at some old obituaries. Now, you know, guys, I got an honorary degree in obituaryology. Okay, my wife gave it to me. She said, "You're always looking at obituaries." Yeah, well, number one, I'll make sure I'm not in there. Number two, I'm very interested. I had thousands and thousands and thousands of patients over the years. And so, I don't know. I look through obituaries, okay? I admit it, and I do it every day. Okay? I do it every day. Well, I was just reviewing an older obituary of a colleague of mine. I was looking at it yesterday. He died in 2022. He was into his 90s. His name is Dr. Fishman. And I trained under him in bioidentical hormones. He was the father of it. And he taught at Nova Medical School in South Florida. He was a pharmacist, but also taught pharmacology at Nova Medical School. And he was one of the pioneers in bioidentical hormones. And so I took courses from him, okay? But I was kind of chuckling in my head yesterday when I was looking at his obituary. Not that I found it funny, but something he said to me I found funny, okay? In my first class with him, he asked me a question. Who won World War II? And I sort of was taken aback by it, and I said, well, we did. He said, no, we didn't. The Germans won. And I'm like, Doc, maybe you're losing it. You know, maybe you're losing it. No, we won. Right? We won. Nah, he said the Germans won. And then he went on to say, since World War II, the pharmaceutical industry, which is all German by origin, they killed more people and still are killing more people today than all that died in World War II. He said the Germans won. He said companies like Pfizer, Bayer, Merck, Janssen, Novartis, Roche, they're all German, he said. And this guy was a pharmacologist, guys, okay? And he actually had his own pharmacy. So it wasn't like he wasn't giving out prescriptions. But I love what he said there because it got me thinking about, are we, you know, it's so true. And the thing with him, and I said, it's amazing that you even have any kind of business in the pharmaceutical business, because you warn people. You warn your customers. You warn your patients. And he said, yeah, I'm one of the few pharmacists, but he says, I teach pharmaceuticals at a medical school. And he said, the biggest thing I do is teach them the side effects of it. And that medication should be almost a last resort. Now, can you imagine the breath of fresh air this guy was? And he went on to get a degree in nutrition too, like me. That's why I called him a colleague. And he thought outside the box. And he was so different and really loved bioidentical hormones. And I studied under him. I learned a lot. And anyway, I was just kind of interested because I was looking at that yesterday, and I remember he went through the list. There was, we went through a lot of medications just because they were so popular. And then, he talked about, in those days, a long time ago, cholesterol medication. He said it's the biggest scam he's ever seen in his life. And I said, you teach that in medical school? He said, yep. I teach it in medical school. Like, why are you giving those things out? Why are you giving statin drugs? You had a hard time filling a statin drug out to his pharmacy. He said he gave the patient a lecture. And he said, then I called the doctor, even a cardiologist. I said, it's amazing you had any business at all. Anyway, I thought I'd bring that up because I was just looking at him. He was a real, he became a friend. And really enjoyed Dr. Fishman. Died in 2022. And, in South Florida. Real great guy. New study on omega-3 again. By the way, I talked about this the other day. You can literally get your omega-3 levels tested. Okay? I guarantee you probably have to pay for it. But it is a great test. Like, get your vitamin D level checked, guys. Once, twice a year. Put an investment in. If your doctor won't do it, and if the lab needs you to pay for it, I highly recommend this investment. Vitamin D, you guys know that. Sun, vitamin D. Get your B12 tested. It should be routine, but it's not always routine. You make it routine. Because a lot of doctors, B12 don't mean nothing to them anymore. They're not trained like the physicians of my generation were trained in the importance of B12. And get your B12 levels checked. Not that they're necessarily the greatest accurate tests. Guys, my sayings, right? I got a lot of sayings. B12 test should be given a birthday party because it's over 100 years old, and we should put it to bed and invent a new one at the cellular level. Because the problem is B12 can be floating in your blood, but it's not being absorbed inside your cells, and it's not doing you a lot of good. But I found, this is me over the years, okay, because of all the patients that I saw over the years, I looked at B12, and there was sort of a sweet spot. If you were in there on your blood work within about 800 to 1200, generally, and there were exceptions, but generally, you were sort of in the sweet spot for B12. The vast majority of people were very low in B12, very low. And you can never overdose. So people that were high on B12, I had physicians call me. I'm not kidding you. You're giving them B12 and their B12 number is high. I heard that a lot. I appreciated the phone call. I did. Okay? In all due respect, I said, can I ask you a question, Doc? Yeah. B12, water soluble or fat soluble? I'd wait for the answer because they didn't always know. And if they knew, they'd say, well, water soluble. I said, well, you're not overdosing on B12. You don't really overdose on vitamin D, which is fat soluble. But you could. It's possible. Right? It's possible. But you're not overdosing on B12. So when, I used to give them, I'd say, here, you're taking a sublingual. And by the way, if you don't take B12, so many people get this wrong because they don't know. Nobody told them. You can't take B12 and swallow it. Well, you can do it, but it's not going to move your numbers. You need to take a sublingual. In the old days, we gave you a B12 shot. Doctors used to give B12. They wouldn't even hesitate. Oh, you're tired. Here's a B12 shot. They don't do it anymore. You almost got to pull their teeth. You got to bring them to a dentist without anesthesia to make a doctor give you B12 today, just about. Okay? Like if you go to a pharmacist and ask for B12, well, in the States, I think you need a prescription. In Canada, you don't. But most pharmacists, who wants B12? I know a lot of pharmacists. That's why I ask a lot of questions. What do you want B12 for? Like nobody does that. You mean the supplement on your shelf? And, sometimes just to be friendly, I take the supplement of B12 they have on the shelf in the pharmacy. I said, you know what? You don't get this. What? Well, you can take this till the cows come home. It's not in a sublingual form. It's not in a methylcobalamin form. You need to let it dissolve under your tongue. Sir or ma'am, pharmacist, you should know this. But they say, well, nobody asks for a B12 shot anymore. We have it, but we don't keep it in stock. But B12, find out what your B12 numbers are, guys, okay? Find out. Find out vitamin D. Find out B12. Find out your uric acid. Why? All part of metabolic syndrome. Now, you're not going to read that anywhere else. You're going to read it or hear about it here. And guys, I'm telling you something. I'm right about this. Vitamin D. Find out. Why? Well, for a lot of things, including metabolic syndrome. It has a huge connection to your insulin resistance. Has a huge connection to preventing cancer, vitamin D. B12, huge connection to metabolic syndrome. It's a metabolic vitamin. It's a nerve vitamin. It's a brain vitamin. It's a heart vitamin. You need B12. Find out. Okay, like I said, check for that sweet spot that I like to give you. Okay? Now, the other one that you can get, omega-3. You can literally get it tested. Most labs will give you your percentage of omega-3 in your blood. Okay? They can test it. And most people are very low. They don't know. No one's told them. No one's told them. You got to be thinking outside the box for a doctor to recommend omega-3 testing, but you guys know how much I love omega-3. Okay? Now, all of that to tell you about a new study. Okay? To tell you about a new study. The study on lung cancer and omega-3. Okay? Let me read it to you. Okay? Omega-3 is very preventative of lung cancer. Interesting, isn't it? What's lung cancer got to do with omega-3? Well, let me give it to you here, okay? They don't even say this in the article. I'm just going to give you some background as to why omega-3 would be helpful, along with vitamin D in cancer. And I'm going to show you a new study on the anti-mutagenic, okay, that's a big word, okay, mutagenic effects of curcumin. Mutagenic, that's what happens to cancer cells. They mutate. Okay? We'll get back to this in a minute. Let's go back to lung cancer for a minute. Why today? Why? I'm a why guy. You're a why audience. Why? You want to know why? Why, Dr. Martin, why is lung cancer still the number one cancer today? Number one. Okay? Is it the environment? Possibly. But I think I know why it's number one. Okay? Why? Why, since the vast majority of people got the memo? Don't smoke. Right? And even remember, we're talking 20, 30 years ago, remember secondhand smoke? I think it's illegal where I am in Ontario to smoke in your car if you have children in the car. I think it is. I like that. Secondhand smoke. But guys, why is it that smoking has gone way down, which used to be the number one cause of lung cancer? Okay? But smoking, the amount of people smoking in North America, we got the memo. Hallelujah on smoking, right? Most people. And yet, lung cancer is still number one. Well, Dr. Martin, in my thinking, it's the environment. It's all, you talk about it all the time. We live in a toxic soup. You breathe it in. It's in the air. Yeah. Good thinking. You got your thinking caps on. I like that. But I'm going to give you what I think is the number one reason. Even more than our environment. You know what it is? It's the omega-6 bad oils. You know the oils that were meant for your car? And people, it's in everything today and all the fast foods, processed foods, omega-6. Why? Because they're seed oils. They create an inflammatory response. But listen to this, guys. Okay. Listen to this. They create, okay, those seed oils. They create in your lungs the same side effect that smoking created. What did smoking create? Okay? You're puffing in tobacco. What did that create in your lungs? Aldehydes. You ever heard of formaldehyde? Aldehydes. That is the cause. Smoking causes aldehydes. And then, enormous amount of free radicals, enormous amount of oxidation, and destruction of blood supply and all this and that. But aldehydes is a byproduct of smoking. So is bad oils. Those so-called vegetable oils that you can run your car on, that are in our food supply. It's the reason, one of the biggest reasons, that lung cancer today is the #1 killing cancer still today. We haven't won the war on cancer because we haven't even slowed down the aldehyde formation in the lungs. Poor kids, when they're weaned on all these fast foods cooked in the bad oil. Now listen, okay? Now I'm going to make the point. Because I told you a long story to get to. Omega-3 is very effective in preventing lung cancer. Why? Because it counteracts the omega-6 that creates an enormous amount of, because the omega-6 today to omega-3 ratio is 20-30 to 1. Because we got stupid and we got rid of butter and went to margarine. And we got rid of the good oils and cooking in butter and cooking in fat and cooking in lard, to cooking in these bad oils and soy oil and canola oil, these vegetable oils. Very damaging to the lungs. Very damaging to the lungs. And omega-3 counteracts that. Especially when you get the EPA and DHA, omega-3. It lowers that ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. It protects, it lubricates. Okay, we talked about cancer yesterday. Vitamin D, take care of yourself. Lungs love vitamin D. Lungs love omega-3, DHA. You've seen the study. I published it. I didn't publish it. I put it on our website. Not even on our website, the Martin Clinic private Facebook group. My word. And destroys tumors. Protect your lungs, my friends. Protect your lungs. Okay. Do I have any more? Omega-3. Oh, yeah, I wanted to do the anti-mutagenic effect of curcumin. I love curcumin. Guys, if you listen to my protocol on cancer, okay? You listen to my protocol on cancer. I can't even name you the number. Tens of thousands of people, even since I've been out of practice, they're always asking, Doc, my sister, my brother, me, or whatever has got cancer, what should I do? Well, look, here's what I know you should do. And this is in spite of traditional medical treatment. Get your body as a fighting machine, cancer. And you need to get your vitamin D levels checked. You got to get your vitamin D up here to fight cancer. Okay? I don't care if you're getting chemo, radiation, whatever. You got to get your immune system on your side. And they're showing, and this is why one of my protocols is not only DHA, it's not only vitamin D, it's not only laying off the sugar, and we talked about that. Lay off the sugar. And, fight yeast. Love oil of oregano and probiotics. You've got to be part of the protocol. One big part of the protocol, and it's got a lot of research, guys, is curcumin. A good, high quality, high absorbable curcumin. I love curcumin. I take it every day. It is anti-mutagenic. In every stage, let me read to you the research. Helps even before cancer gets to the cells. Blocks the big word, coming, proliferation. That's the multiplication. Okay? It blocks the proliferation of cancer in every phase, according to this new study. Who knew? Me. I have been talking curcumin for a long time. Okay? Anyways, the anti-mutagenic effect of curcumin helps even before cancer gets to the cells. It helps in every phase. Very preventative. Okay. Guys, that's it for our celebration of Canada Day. And Friday, I'll make sure, even though it's Q&A, and even though it'll be July 3rd, right? Let me see. Yep. Friday, July 3rd, to my American friends, you'll get a day early celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Okay? Okay, guys, we love you guys. You know that, right? I hope you know. I hope you know how much I appreciate, love my audience. You guys. You make this show. Without you, no me doing this. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.